Welcome back. When it comes to getting back to class, parents need all the help they can get, corralling kids, backpacks, lunches, and more, getting kids to bed on time, making sure they're eating right, and caring for their emotional and physical well-being. Well, we might be able to help this morning. Actually, Dr. Susan Maples might be able to help. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Amanda. Pleased to be here.
So you have a handful of tips for us. Let's keep it, we'll keep it to a handful. We get 5 tips to help parents to get through this new school year and to kind of get back on track. And what we put in our bodies and what we do with our bodies is so important. And one of the tips that you have for parents is the 1 finger rule. What exactly is that?
That's really about focusing on real food. So if you're going to have packaged food, we want to make sure that the ingredient list is 5 ingredients or less. And if they can really start to, really when they're little and they can't cover the ingredients with 1 finger, then that sort of doesn't belong in the shopping cart. Later when they can count to 5, and later when they can read, if it doesn't sound like real food in the ingredients, it's not real food, and we shouldn't be having to process that.
Yeah, I can't pronounce that word. Is that something that I should be eating? Right? That's not actually food. So great advice there. And speaking of what we're eating and what we're drinking is really important too. Lots of water and avoiding those sugary beverages.
We consume 22 to 40 teaspoons of sugar a day, and half of it is in liquid sugars. So really, we really want for everything, for obesity, metabolic disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease affects 25% of kids when they've never had a drop of alcohol, all from processing fructose.
Wow.
And of course, the cavity rates. So eliminate all sugary beverages from your home, not just from your kids, but for you too, because it turns out they're really good mimics.
Yeah, exactly. If we can model that behavior and just don't put it in the fridge, don't buy it, don't have it in the house, even juice, most juice isn't really juice, is it?
Well, even if it's 100% juice, we're throwing away the best part of the fruit, which is the fiber, our #1 nutrient deficiency, which helps regulate blood sugar. So we'd rather have a whole fruit than a juice anyway.
There we go. So eat that apple instead of drinking that apple juice. We want to make sure that the kids are sleeping well, too. We know it's important for us as adults, and for the kids, it's incredibly important. They grow when they sleep, and so we want to make sure that they're getting to bed at a good hour and getting a good night's sleep. And there's some ways that we can help them get to bed when they're supposed to. How do we do that?
Good question. Decades ago, I used to think sleep was overrated when we were in college. Now we realize that sleep is so incredibly restorative. We want to make sure we're focusing on quality sleep so that their mouth is closed and they're not snoring or audibly breathing, but also preparing a sanctuary of sleep in their rooms where it's cool and dark and no screens whatsoever, and that we start to dim the lights down in the evening to mimic the outdoors, and that we also really look at helping kids know the value of sleep, that really good sleep is super healthy for them. If you don't get good quality of sleep, your cognitive ability drops down the very next day.
Right. So parents, it'll help us too, right? We can all get to bed and get some good sleep. When we talk about our physical health, of course, that's important, but our emotional health is important as well. And I think as adults, we're stressed, we're anxious, we have a lot of responsibilities. We might not think that our kids can also be anxious and stressed, but they can be.
40% of children today suffer from anxiety disorder. That doubled during the COVID time and really hasn't backed down. So social, emotional, and cognitive health are all super important. I think we all know that, but we're kind of at a loss. I think developing the language around emotions so they can describe that, giving them some really good tools that they can use to help help quell some of their anxiety, like breath work, meditation, and being able to express, and then really avoid secret keeping. I love my personal assistant Molly gave me this when I wrote the book, and it's in our family we don't have secrets, only delightful surprises. Secrets can be dangerous, especially in days of bullying.
Absolutely. And another thing I think that we want to make sure that our kids are doing is getting up and moving, because as we know, there's the screens and there's all of that fun stuff that they love. But, we got to make physical activity, fun for them and encourage them to get up and move.
I love organized sports, but organized sports are interesting because they come in like little doses. We really want daily activity, and we want to foster that by setting good examples with them. If we can come up with things that we can do as a family to keep moving, we will instill healthy movement for a lifetime with kids. So everything from the living room dance party to taking a good walk after dinner, to a hike, to figuring out what we want to do as a Christmas gift. Maybe we're buying kayaks this year and taking it to a river, and that's our family Christmas gift. So things that we can do to incorporate family movement would be great.
Great ideas. You touch on a lot of this in your book as well. Tell us about that and where folks can get it.
It's called Brave Parent, Raising Healthy, Happy Kids Against All Odds in Today's World. These 5 tips were just a tiny snippet of what you'll find in there. It will really change the course of your parenting life if you can focus on the evidence-based approaches to raising healthy kids. You can buy it wherever you buy books, and it's available on Audible. I know a lot of parents are millennials, and a lot of millennials don't read as much. They're busy doing other things, but you can listen on your AirPods or listen in your car, and it's there's also a Brave Parent podcast.
There you go, talking to those millennials. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Amanda.
You bet. Take care. Well, coming up on Toledo's only live local 9 a.m. show, contemporary